Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras here with ILTV's Morning Brief.
Israel's day of dread has arrived. The whole nation could be heard letting out a collective sigh of defeat midnight on Wednesday as the Knesset officially disbanded and threw the Jewish state back into elections. And so the vote for the 23rd parliament will now be set for March 2nd, 2020, just 88 days away. And this will be the third election in Israel in just 11 months' time, costing the state an estimated 12 billion shekels total in 18 months. The various party leaders, though, are all spending today slinging blame on each other. Netanyahu is blasting Gantz and the Blue and White Party for doing everything possible to prevent a broad unity and to install a minority government with the Arab parties. Blue and White, on the other hand, shot back, tweeting, "Save a few lies for the campaign." And party number 2, Yair Lapid, adds that there are only 3 reasons for this next election: bribery, fraud, and breach of trust, in reference to the criminal charges that Netanyahu is now faced with. Then Lieberman also blames Netanyahu, calling him a burden in the Knesset, but he says that he would still support giving Netanyahu a pardon, at least, from any prosecution, as long as Netanyahu resigns from politics. While far from resigning from politics, Netanyahu remains adamant that he is innocent, has the support of the people, and will win big in the next vote. He has, however, informed the high courts that he will at least be resigning from his other ministerial positions, effective January 1st. This is in line with current legal precedent in which ministers step down to address legal charges. The premiership is the only portfolio that a minister does not technically have to relinquish. In spite of earlier promises to hold Likud leadership primaries in the event of a third election, Netanyahu loyalists are now reportedly moving to cancel internal elections completely. Just minutes after the Knesset dissolved, David Bitan took to Twitter saying that he has reached a number of signatures needed in order to convene the Likud Central Committee to hold a secret vote on canceling primaries. It's a dark day in the Jewish and American community today as thousands of mourners take to the streets of Brooklyn and Jersey City to mourn the brutal murder of 4 individuals in New Jersey Wednesday afternoon. Loudspeakers broadcast the eulogies of the 2 Jewish victims in Yiddish to massive crowds who filled the roadways. And heavy police escorts accompanied both processions, one for Mindel Ferenc and one for Moshe Deutsch. The 32-year-old Mindel ran the JC Kosher supermarket where the attack took place with her husband Moshe. And the couple were among the first 10 Hasidic Jews to actually move into the area, opening the store 4 years ago. 24-year-old Moshe Deutsch is then the second named victim, and he was one of the first students at the yeshiva next to the supermarket. He was also a volunteer for the Chai Lifeline, a Jewish organization that aids sick children. As for the third victim, he has now been named as 49-year-old Miguel Douglas. He worked as an employee of JC Kosher and has been described as dedicated, always nice, and always helpful. And finally, the fourth victim is 39-year-old father of 5 and veteran police officer Joseph Seals. He was killed first by the gunman at a nearby cemetery, but leaves behind a huge legacy of getting illegal guns off the streets. And the community at Greenville has since come together to launch a charity campaign for the families of the victims. It can be found at www.charity.com/jcvictims. Now, as for the attackers, the 5th and 6th deaths in this attack, investigators have identified them as David N. Anderson and Francine Graham. And they're also believed to be a couple who've self-identified as Black Hebrew Israelites, a group that historically believes that blacks are the true descendants of biblical Jews and that white Jews essentially stole the religion. Authorities have since found many social media posts that are both anti-police and anti-Jewish. Additionally, Anderson was paroled in 2011 after spending 4 months in jail on weapons charges, and both he and Graham are implicated in another murder in nearby Bayonne County from just last weekend. In other news, Israel is now set to host an elite world chess tournament for the first time ever in Jerusalem. And 16 top-class players, including one Israeli, will be participating in the Jerusalem Grand Prix. The tournament will also be part of the World Championship cycle and will go on until December 23rd. But while most participants are just excited for the event and the €130,000 grand prize, there are some issues. For one, there have been some politically charged emails supporting BDS sent to the organizers. But for the most part, the FIDE, or the World Chess Federation, says that everyone has been great and looks forward to the event. The other issue, however, is that the future of the tournament in Israel is at risk because of Israel's continuing political crisis. Organizers of the tournament claim that they hope to make the Grand Prix in Israel long-term. The event is held every 2 years. But Israel's government reportedly refuses to approve the funding, with the Jerusalem and Heritage Ministry explaining that a budget cannot be approved in such sensitive times by an interim government. Still, the candidates are all showing great enthusiasm for the games at hand, with the winner of the championship cycle going on to face the world champ, Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen of Norway.
That's all for now, but for more news from Israel, remember to like ILTV on Facebook and on Instagram, and to subscribe to us on YouTube. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.